Hi and welcome to the Car Care Nut channel. This video is a buying guide for the 2012 to 2014 Toyota Camry. We're going to discuss common problems and things to look for when buying one. If you already own one or you're about to buy one, stay tuned till the end of the video for some tips and tricks to keep yours going on the road without any issue. Let's get started. Let's start with the engine, and specifically the 4-cylinder engine. Let's start with leaks. Oil leaks first. Although not very common, some oil leaks can be pretty serious on this engine, especially from the rear main seal. If you're inspecting the car on the ground, if you lean underneath the car as you see in this picture, this is the view you will see. And this is another view when the car is up on the lift, so you know what you're looking at. This is the engine and this is the transmission. The rear main seal is the seal that sits between the engine and the transmission. They're common to leak and it's a very costly repair, so make sure the car looks just like the one in the picture right here, completely dry of oil. The next thing we're going to talk about are coolant leaks on the 4-cylinder engine. Although it has been vastly improved, we have seen some coolant leaks, especially from the water pump. That is one thing that is very common on a lot of Toyota models. Another thing is the coolant pipe at the back of the cylinder head. This is a small video to show you where to look for that coolant leak. And this is a picture of the pipe. This is how it should look without any leaks. If you see any crust formation that is pink in color, which is the color of the coolant, that indicates a leak. That is not a good thing. Typically the cylinder head has to be replaced and it's a major job. Although not as common, but it's something very easy to check, very easy to look for. So make sure you watch out for that. Continuing on the 4-cylinder engine, noises. This engine in the early years, especially 2012, had some issues with the timing gears where they make rattling noise when you start them when the car has sat overnight. Make sure when you're checking the car that it has sat overnight. Start the car, listen for any abnormal noises like a grinding noise that lasts from 1 to 5 seconds, then goes away completely. That is an indication that the timing gear is about to fail. It is a medium cost repair, however, something you want to avoid buying one with a bad timing gear. Another noise on this engine, which is less serious, is the tensioner pulley. Tensioner pulley for the drive belt makes noise. It's a loud screeching noise, very easy to find. Just start the engine, let it warm up, open the hood, and you will hear it, something abnormal. Let's talk about the V6 engine. The V6 engine is a bulletproof engine in this car with very minor issues with leaks. Starting with coolant leaks, the water pump is very common to leak on these. Not as common as other models with the same engine. However, it's possible and it's something you should look into. Check the coolant level, check the water pump. It's a costly repair if it does leak. Other leaks are oil leaks. Although not very common in this later years of this engine, it's very possible that the front timing cover leaks, as you see in this picture. It is a massive job. It is very expensive. The engine has to come out of the car to repair this leak. Make sure the car, again, looks bone dry underneath. When you lean underneath it, you do not see any oil. These cars are not common for massive oil leaks. Moving on to transmission. The transmission on the 4-cylinder engine, especially on the years 2012 and 2013, had one major issue where the torque converter, which is a part between the engine and the transmission, fails, causing a shudder. You can easily detect this on a test drive. The car is fully warmed up, drive the car to around 40 miles an hour and cruise at 40 miles an hour with light acceleration. After a little bit of cruising at 40 miles an hour, you're going to feel a very abrupt shuddering in the whole body of the car. It's not something that you can miss, but if you take the car for a test drive and not do this exact sequence where the car is fully warmed up, you're driving at 40 miles an hour, cruising at 40 miles an hour, you will not feel it, and it could be too late by the time you feel it. This issue was completely remedied in 2014 model So if you don't want to deal with this, go for a 2014. Moving on to body. The original paint on this car is very easily chipped by rocks and debris from the road. Make sure you look at that hood, make sure there's not a lot of rock chips. It's very easy to chip the original paint and then it would rust and it would need a respray or rust repair. Make sure you watch for that. Another thing in body is if you're buying a sunroof car with a sunroof, make sure during your test drive you pull into a steep driveway with the steering wheel fully locked, and make sure you listen for a sound from the sunroof. They were very common for a clunk type noise from the roof when you do that exact turning right or left into a driveway with the steering wheel fully turned, basically rocking the body in that motion. You'll hear a big clunk from the roof. It is not a real issue, it is more of an annoyance, but it is somewhat expensive to repair if it bothers you. So make sure you look for that. Moving on to chassis. One common noise concern is a squat, squeak type noise from the front when going in a dip in the road, specifically from the front, and more prominent when the weather is cold. Now that's your front sway bar bushings. They are not something serious nor expensive to repair, it's just an annoyance. However, you could use that to negotiate the price down for your car. Another thing is, if you're buying a sport model or SE trim, some of them came with an 18-inch wheel. That wheel was very easy to bend, especially if you hit potholes. Make sure you drive the car, make sure it's smooth on the road and there's no abnormal vibrations, especially if you have those wheels. They're very expensive to repair, very expensive to replace, and they could easily get damaged from potholes. Moving on to electrical, and one of the most common electrical problems on these cars, door lock actuator failures. Basically the door locks doesn't work, one of them, two of them, or even four. This is the part that fails. This could be a costly repair. Very simple way to check it is lock and unlock all doors. Check that all doors lock and unlock either using the remote or the button on the door. Make sure they all work. If they all work, you're good. If they don't work, negotiate the price because this could be costly. Next electrical problem are the radios. These are the years where Toyota started using more high-tech radios. Simple way to put it, the simpler the radio, the more reliable it will be. The 2012 and 2013 base model radio was the best radio. This is how it looks. And one thing to identify Toyota radios is by what we call the faceplate ID. This is the faceplate ID that I recommend. This radio has the least problems, does not freeze up, does not reboot. Radios with navigation have a lot of issues and require constant updates at the dealerships. The cost to replace these radios is very high. Make sure you check the radio, make sure you pair your phone, make sure everything is working in that radio before you buy the car. The last electrical problem is related to body damage or accidents, specifically to the driver's front side. There's an electrical grounding point underneath the fender that, if improperly repaired, could cause all kinds of electrical problems with the car. Here's a video of how you can access that area. Now, looking at this area, it should look like this. You should not see any hammer marks, dents, or any suspicious marks on it. It should look clean and it should look like this. One more time. If this area was not repaired properly, the grounding point will not make good contact, and the problems that ensue are endless. First thing is, you shut off the car, you lock it. The driver or passenger or both high beam headlights will stay on, and no matter what you do, they will stay on. The other issue is the cooling fan outside, the radiator cooling fan, will remain on when you shut off the car. And in some extreme cases, these cars have caught on fire under the hood because of this issue. Again, if you're buying a car that has no accident, you should not worry about it. However, here is a pro tip for you. The way Toyota paints their bumpers, specifically the front bumper, they leave a little edge on the side of the bumper, as you see in this picture. If you see that, that is an original bumper that hasn't been painted, and likely that area hasn't been damaged. When the bumper is painted, that mark will disappear, and you'll know that bumper has been painted, and you should look closely, just like I showed you in the video. If you already own a 2012 to 2014 Camry, or you just bought one, here are some tips that will make your car run longer and have no issues. First, even though the owner's manual will recommend you do your oil change every 10,000 miles, do it between 3,000 and 5,000. Specifically the 4-cylinder engines. If you go the 10,000 miles over the years, you will start having oil consumption issues. This could be very serious, very costly to repair. It's just an oil change. I would do it earlier. Another thing is the transmission. Even though the owner's manual will tell you the transmission is sealed for life, you do not have to change the fluid. We have seen some issues with these cars as they put miles on. Make sure you change that trans fluid at the dealership every 60,000 miles, and you will have no issues with the transmission. I hope this video was helpful and informative for you. If you liked it, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or you're welcome to email me at thecarcarenut@gmail.com. May the Lord bless you, and good luck on your car purchase.